How's it hanging, dudes? My name is Shawn. Welcome to, I think, the fourth episode of Cities Skylines 2.5 podcast, where we just talk City Skylines and anything else that comes to mind. And today I have Kodiak the Kodiak. Did I say that right?
You did.
All right, cool. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
So I've been, first off, I'm from Michigan State in the United States, very Midwest. I've been playing City since it came out. I played, my first city builder was SimCity 2013, and obviously the launch of that was a complete mess, but I really liked the core mechanics of the game, and I always wanted something like a little better. And then when Cities Skylines came out in, I think it was 2015, I was just obsessed with it at first. I was one of the first people to like kind of stream it on Twitch way back in the day before like they kept metrics and stuff like that, and I streamed that a bunch until I went off to college, and then when I got out of college I just came back to Cities, you know.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah, it's kind of similar with me. I've always played it, but I've had a lot of different channels in the past, and I've branched on so many different genres of YouTube. But I've always it's like Cities Skylines is one of those games I've always had. No matter which account I've had, I've always had 200-300 hours minimum. One account I had like 1,000 hours, and something happened with that account. Made a new account, and now I've got like 600 hours in that one, something like that. It's always been one of those games in the background. Like, no matter which genre of game I've covered, which channel I've made in the past, Cities Skylines I've always played. And I always just thought I missed my window on the game, you know? Like, well, the game's so old, you know, right? And there's no point in uploading because it's so saturated. And then like people started uploading tutorial videos again. Like, this is how you make this again. I was like, what? Those are coming back? And then all of a sudden Cities Skylines 2 dropped. And I was like, this is my window, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, Cities is like one of those games where it's like, I played it like a ton. Like, I was probably like one of the only people like regularly streaming it when it first came out. And then like, I kind of just dipped. Like, I had like a pretty solid viewer base at that point. None of them are like really with my channel anymore. I was like under a different username at the time and everything. But when I came back to it, like, I was noticing, I'm like, this always does like really good, and like the community's always really good, and like everyone who's kind of just involved in the scene is so nice and friendly. Like, it's just such a nice little niche in the gaming sphere that I always like wanted to come back to, but I never like committed to it, I guess. Right. And then this year I was like, this is where I think I belong, and so I just like full sent it. So
yeah, 100%.
I'm like, dude, in the same boat with you. Yeah,
100%, dude. I've seen a lot of your content, and you know, it shows you're like same with me. Like, when your heart and your passion is in the game, the community sees that, and they just rally behind you. Like, there's some videos I don't even ask people to like, you know, or subscribe, and it's just like constant. You know what I mean? Like, they're just there. And supporting, even when I make mistakes, you know what I mean? People are like, I've been in some toxic, you know, gaming genre spheres, you know, communities, and and Cities Skylines is so open, and I mean, there's a few like Redditor style people, and there's a few people who are like, you know, sticklers about certain things. Like, somebody was mad at me because I was a PC player, and like they had this bias against me because I had, like, I'm even if I didn't use mods, I had the ability to use mods, so it's like, you know, so there's a few people like that, but mostly my very first video I said that Cities Skylines has always been one of the most opening and welcoming communities. It's so funny you say that, because my very first video I mentioned that, and it was like that video kind of for like when you post your first video on a channel that has 0 subscribers and it hits 800 views in a couple days, you're like, oh wow, right. You know. Like, wow, you know, and it was very low effort, you know, it wasn't like... Yeah,
it's like, wow, I feel like I found something here. Like, wow, I hit it right out of the park, right out of the gate. Like, that can be, like, jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure.
Dude, it's a feeling that you want to bottle, you know what I mean, and sell it.
Yeah. I mean, like, so, before I, like, really got back into, like, streaming and trying to create YouTube content again, do you know who Hutch is? The Machinima Respawn Hutch?
I'm not too familiar, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay, I was his editor like not too long ago.
Nice.
And like he mostly plays Call of Duty, and like, so to come from like the toxic, awful Call of Duty community. Yeah. So to like come from that community, like, and get back into Cities, like, for myself and my own content has been like so just nice and like calm, and like everybody's just kind of on the same page, and we all just kind of like want the same stuff for everybody. Like, you know, I think everybody in the community wants mods for everyone. Like, so as long as you like are open for like all that, and you're just like positive about it, like, I just feel like this community is so like awesome and welcoming for it, which is like been such a refreshing
Dude, it's so weird.
Nice thing.
We have like the same exact background. Like I was an editor for for a brief period. I was an editor for K-Dubs, who's an up and coming COD creator.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was editing him for just a little while, and I helped him give me some tips and pointers on how to get his channel going and whatnot. Before that, I did Jurassic World Evolution, so I was always in the park builders. But it's so weird that I played Call of Duty a lot, and then we were both editors for Call of Duty players, and we both decided to make Cities Skylines content. We're both similar subs, we both similar content. It's amazing. Yeah. It's almost like looking into a mirror. So I'm actually glad to have you on the podcast today. It's been a while since I had a podcast, and these are informal. Like, so sometimes you might hear my kid in the background, something like that. So ignore all that.
All right.
So if anything happens, it's no big deal. We can edit things out, or we can leave it in. So it's just pretty much laid back, and like I said, I'm just glad that I was finally able to talk to you. I was originally supposed to, which is a nice segue into our next topic. I was originally supposed to have a podcast this week with Rudy Rencamel, but but he got invited to do Cities in the Sky. I'm like, don't you better go. Don't you stop for me, man. Like,
this is like the one that everybody keeps telling me to watch. So I actually have a video going up tomorrow from like when we're recording this tomorrow, not when you publish this. I don't know when you're going to publish this, but it'll be tomorrow morning or afternoon that I'll publish this, of my like kind of reaction to Cities in the Sky day 1. And after I did that, there was the day 2, and everyone kept sending me like Rooney's videos or like of his like gameplay, and they're like, this is the one that like, actually shows all the cool stuff, and I'm like, well, now I'm too busy to watch it. So,
man.
That's really interesting that like it was him that you were supposed to have on here.
Well, the thing is, the reason why Rudy is such a big thing is because he kind of like sips from day 1, which it was just such horrible live stream quality, so you didn't really get to see. Sips was actually he's had a few playlists of Cities Skylines. He's not like all in on Cities Skylines, right. and Rudy's not necessarily, like, he plays other games too, but he's really heavily influenced on Cities Skylines, and so everybody was like, yes, which a lot of the bigger fan base didn't really understand, that Cities in the Sky, with all these other streamers, they're branching out to like the normie streamers, people that may not necessarily even know about Cities Skylines at all, and that was their whole goal, but man, the planning just really fell short.
Yeah, I mean, I said the same thing at the end of my reaction stream, because, I mean, I said it a lot throughout the stream, was that, like, I wish they had at least invited one Cities Skylines creator, like, just one Cities Skylines focused creator on day 1. Like, yeah, sure, Sips played a pretty decent amount of Cities, like, he was the one I was trying to focus on the most, but, like, just one person who, like, really kind of understood the game and get it. And obviously we're going to get that now on the 8th with the, like, actual creator release stuff on September 8th with all of that, but it would have just been nice to have that, and I said that a bunch, but then, at the end, I saw a lot of people in my chat saying the same thing, and it's like, well, you also have to understand that, like, this is not a marketing ploy for us content, like, people they already have hooked. Like, they already have us. We're already hooked. Fan service is the Dev Diaries and the Dev Insights. Like, that's for us, and obviously the 8th will also be for us, right? But, like, this is, like, this is like a big event at Gamescom. Like, this is to a wider audience. Yeah. Like, this is a big, wow, jaw-dropping thing for people who are not really Cities Skylines players. And sure, we always want more information, but, like, this is just not our event. Like, this one specifically is just not for us. And it's like, we have to work a little harder to find it, but it's like, it's just not. Like, they went above and beyond to bring other people in.
Yeah, 100%, and I 100% from a Paradox mother sister company, whatever you want to call it, like, from that standpoint, and just reaching a wider audience and trying to, because they potentially have another gold mine on their hands, and they want to branch it out to as many people as possible, and rightfully so. I just really feel like if they would have capitalized on actually making sure the stream went, but then again, though, how do you test something like that? It's like it's like you either have like a fake sort of, dummy test stream ahead of time on a bunch of fake accounts, which somebody will be able to find, or you just wing it, for your first time, and it's just supposed to work, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And eventually they corrected it with day 2, which is okay, but it's like, man, if they probably would have had a lot more eyes on them.
What was wrong in your opinion with day 1?
Oh, did you not notice the horrible quality of the stream?
Like the official stream?
Yeah, the official stream. Yes, yes, yes.
I did not watch the official stream. So
okay, so you have no context for what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm watching their actual streams. Like, I remember, because I peeked in at your video on your opinions of it, and I was like, wow, did we watch something totally different where you thought the quality and stuff, and like, yes, its mic was kind of messing up a little bit, but like, otherwise, like, I thought it, like, watching all of their streams, I thought everything went really well. Jack had like 3 cameras basically he could like cut to, and it was like, I thought it was really great. But like, I watched your video and you talked about how bad the quality was, and I was like, what is this guy talking about? But I didn't watch the official live stream, so like that's good for me to know.
So how it all happened was individual streamers. There's a couple streamers who had a couple problems, but for the most part, individual streams were fine. The problem was the restream quality through the main site, main page YouTube on Cities Skylines 1, which when they first started had like tens of thousands of people. It was going to crack. It could have, if everything would have went fine and the stream quality was as good as everybody else's. Which is hard to do because you're restreaming 6 different people in the air. You know what I mean?
Right. Logistically, it's a very hard thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With that, especially without being able to have a good amount of practice time and testing. Right. So if they had to kind of wing it, and like, okay, so yeah, a couple of these streamers, they had a couple thousand people watching them at one point. But most of those streamers didn't really keep 1,000. If you look at their other live streams, they don't really keep on concurrent 1,000 viewer count live streams. It's normally a little bit lower, like a few hundred, which is still very, very good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to, diss on. I'm just saying it's not normally thousands of people watching some of those streamers, right? And this time it was, and the reason why is because all the tens of thousands of people left the main city's live stream and dispersed into the other streamers because word got out that their streams are better, right? So before you know it,
I think on top of that too, like, there was no official Cities stream on Twitch as far as I understand it. So like, if you're a Twitch watcher and you don't want to watch YouTube, like, you're basically forced to go to those streams too. So like, it is kind of a double whammy.
And you might find yourself already on Twitch, So right. So that's definitely something that happened. And they're of course the live streams are going to be bumped up higher viewer numbers anyways because they're getting this exclusive opportunity to do something. But the main Cities Skylines YouTube page, it was about to pop, dude. And then the quality, as soon as they went into the air, the quality was just dropped. Like, it was just gone. And I was able to record some of that footage. And they took it down, which I'm surprised they didn't take my video down, which I wouldn't have fought them. But I did re-upload that footage specifically because the main Cities Skylines footage was supposed to be they were going to be bouncing around from each individual streamer. You know what I mean? And so you didn't have to just, have a bunch of tabs open and watch all these different streamers and all the different points of view.
Right.
They were going to be able to do that for you, which was like, hey, thumbs up, we like that. And then it just snowballed out of control. And every time they'd switch to a different streamer, some streamers were okay, but the restream quality was just horrible. And I know there's been a lot of restream. I don't know. YouTube and other places have changed a lot of their policies with restreaming, and I don't know if I don't think it did, but I think it was just the hardware issues that really kind of messed it up. But yeah, that's what my video is referring to, was that whole debacle. And on the main page, don't get me wrong, it was a debacle. It was. But the main cities stream on day 2 was much better.
Okay, got it.
Which I don't even
see on there. I don't even think they kept that one up.
Maybe they didn't even do it. I don't know.
I'm looking at their YouTube channel right now, and they don't have either one up at all. No. So they took them both down. I don't know. Maybe Gamescom took them or something.
Maybe we just had a sheer embarrassment. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Interesting. I have no idea. But the individual streams I thought were really good. I think Martin's stream I think was like kind of weird quality because it was YouTube. I also had like 9 streams open all at the same time, and it was
that could
have had my browser maybe doing it. But I know Martin, who I'd never heard of until that day. I'd never heard of him, but like he was the only one who showed up with a city, and he's like, oh, I've been playing this a bunch since they gave me access to it, and like, here's my city, and then proceeded to destroy it, but and push the limits of the game. He got into like the dev console. And like was just spawning airplanes. Which
I need to go back and look at that. Oh, was you talking about the guy who made the pillar high into the air?
Yeah, well, two of them made pillars high into the air, but yeah, I think I think we're thinking of the same guy. Yeah, the Australian guy. Yeah, he did. He had a whole city of like 30,000 people, like right as soon as they like launched it. And he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I've been playing it a bunch, and like he already kind of like knew what he was doing, and I was like trying to look at it, and then he just and then he just proceeded to like, let's build a platform way as at the map height limit, and then let's put an airport on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to see you play the game, man.
I know, but I'm glad he did that though, because it did show some of the limitations of the game, that the terrain height will be higher than the flight height, which is something.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things that like I highlighted in my video that goes up the day after we record this is that like when he got into the dev console, he was able to just like spawn airplanes, like just airplanes that are dummy airplanes, basically, just like the dummy traffic in Cities Skylines 1, and he spawned like a ton of them, and the game just handled it perfectly. Didn't slow down, didn't chug at all. Like, and I'm like, that should be just enough for Cities Skylines like fans, like people who like actually like the game. Like, you should just look at that and just be happy, like that your game's gonna like run,
especially
so good
on just mid to high tier PCs up in the air.
Well, do you know what the specs were of those? I'm really curious to find out.
I don't know. I mean, just from. I mean, the monitors look like $200-$300 monitors a piece. So, I mean, if we're going that same way, and everybody has to have their own, I guess would have to have their own hardware, right? So, then they'd probably...
They had to bring, I think, mice and maybe a keyboard, but I know the rig was provided by them. And being that it's Gamescom, this is a big, huge event, I would be surprised if these were low-end machines at all. Like, I would be surprised if these weren't,
yeah, but I also don't think they're going to go like, you know, like aqua coolant type stuff either. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be probably around the range of like a $1,500 to $2,500 PC from Best Buy. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably what it's probably just a mid to high end PC. It's not nothing like super crazy, but which also might be by design too. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to give like a higher. But I don't know. Are you really going to go out and spend $5,000 on 12 PCs?
I think that these were just given to them by Gamescom for the event, because this is like a Gamescom
that's a lot
event.
Of money, man.
So like I just assume that like Gamescom, they get these PCs donated to them from vendors as part of the sponsorship deal.
I guess, yeah.
And why would you want a bad PC at this big, awesome, insane event up in the sky? Like, why would you want like your creators to have?
Yeah, but can you
like,
also though trust? Problem? Can you also trust just a sponsor giving you a pre-made PC?
I mean, it could have just been part of the deal. We have no idea what that like.
Yeah, we're totally speculating. So. Totally speculating.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that like their deal would be like they provide them with computers or whatever, you know, because like how did they convert that? Because someone in my Discord said that they think that was like some dining in the sky experience that they moved from wherever it was over to the Gamescom Center,
that makes
and then
sense.
They like retrofitted the tables to be able to hold a PC and monitors.
Yeah, and then put the banners up and the seats. The seats are already probably installed. Yeah, and they definitely, if you look on some of the shots, they're definitely freshly painted with some signs of rust. So it's been used before. Like, this is definitely a common occurrence. It's happened before in Cologne or somewhere, you know.
Yeah, which all just leans on to the fact that it could be just this like dining in the sky event, that thing that they have there. So. Which it looked like it from the pictures.
There's a logo on the side of the crane. I bet if somebody watching this podcast right now Googles the logo of that crane, I'm pretty sure they could probably trace that crane company to different bookings of certain events like that.
Yeah.
You know.
And like if you look at the actual like the like canopy part of it, it looks like the one that if you Google just dinner in the sky in Cologne, it looks like the same thing. The table looks a little different, but otherwise it looks very similar. So it was cool that they were able to just like take like a local asset and then just like apply it. I thought that was interesting and neat.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I need to go back into some of those different live streams over a couple of days and get some good footage. But yeah, when I thought I was going to record different viewpoints from the main city's page, and then everybody was so upset, and then I just uploaded just some basic footage, and I mean, I was just like, I'm happy to see what I could see, and then everybody was like, just trashing it. I tried to alleviate their concerns a little bit in the comment section. I didn't want Just tell everybody, oh, you have a shitty opinion. It's just a mistake they had, and blah blah blah. Like, calm down. I didn't want to be like that. I would be like, okay, this is the reason why. This is the reason why. But and then so I'm like, well, I guess I'll make a follow up video about it, and I guess poke a little fun at it, but also like, try to mitigate, try to do damage control for them a little bit, So yeah, but I don't know what are your plans for September 8th? How are you going to tackle that? Do you have any early access? And if you don't, how are you gonna what is your upload plans?
I don't right now. I was thinking about reaching out to Canadian Moose Plays and seeing if he would just let me steal his content.
Yeah, right.
And we're buds. I hope he lets me do that. But as of right now, like, I don't have any, like, because I don't have access, right? And like, I don't know if there's anybody I can reach out to about that either.
They
so
have
like,
email addresses on Colossal Order. I mean, I did that today, just so you know.
I might shoot him an email just to ask and see like if I could. I mean, if I can't, like, I'm probably just gonna like take a look at other people's content and then just like try to pick out the best parts and make some videos on from that. I mean, obviously, I'd really like to. I think we both would really like to get early access content to it.
Yes, sir.
But
did you hear that, Colossal Order?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
that, I mean, like, that's kind of my game plan right now, just because like I don't have access to it. I'm probably just gonna be watching Canadian Moose play that day for the most part. What day of the week even is that? That's a Friday, right?
September 8th. I couldn't tell you. It
Yes,
makes sense. It's Friday.
is.
Yes. Yep. Yep. It makes sense.
So
I mean, I don't know. I reached out to them on email. They have on colossalorder.com. You can go to their contact list, and they have 3 different email branches. And I just picked, and I'll switch it up tomorrow if I don't hear anything back, or today after tomorrow if I don't hear anything back from them, and try a different route. But I picked the press option, and just because I'm a content creator and I want to be able to make an actual honest review, and to do that, I need to be able to have the game early, right? To make an honest review, not to leak content or to do whatever. I mean, September 8th is a nice alternative as well, but really, if I'm able to go that route and they're able to provide it for me, I'm not going to not at least try, if that makes sense. So,
sure, yeah. Yeah, because I asked Bad Peanut, who works for Paradox, if they like knew of any like email address that they might have for like reaching out, and they said that they didn't know of like any specific one that I could. So I was just kind of just floating, just waiting, seeing what was going on with it before I reached out. But that's a good point. I should probably do that.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I mean, it doesn't hurt. At least they can't. At the end of the day, at least if like you was to blow up tomorrow, let's say, and you had 20,000 subscribers out of nowhere, and they were like, "Hey, sorry, we didn't give you this," and you're like, "What gives?" At least they can't hit you back with "Well, you never contacted us." You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Fair. So it's like, and which a lot of times companies they'll just put the onus on you, right? Actually, I'm sending you the email right now. So there you go.
Thank you.
At least that's what I copy and pasted. It didn't really pop up anything blue like it's supposed to.
That's fine. I can just copy and paste it.
Yeah. All right. So cool. Yeah. So September 8th. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. If they don't get back with me, I'm going to reach out on their other end. You just type in colossalorder.com and in down in the contact list, they have 3 different options. I'm going to try. I guess I'll just try everyone. I'll try to hit them on X, formerly known as Twitter. And maybe even try to reach out to them in Discord a little bit. But yeah, I don't even think Cities by Diana has anything. Bonbon doesn't have anything. There's a few.
Yeah, I was curious if she got access or not, because she's massive on TikTok. I was gonna be surprised if like they didn't invite Lane Man to take a look at Cities Skylines too.
Right? I mean, what gives, man? You gotta have Lane Man. I mean, come on, he's out there fighting the good fight, so. Yeah, I don't know. I just, some of us smaller creators, not to toot our own horn, but who else is going to toot it, right? We're the ones really keeping the hype train going, like how many videos have you covered? I think you have one video that's like 12,000 views or something about traffic, and like there's videos I have that are up there too, and we're smaller creators, so that means those are views that are that quadruple our subscriber count. And back when those videos were popping off, they more than quintupled our subscriber count. And if that doesn't show you the reach that a small channel can have, whereas not to shoot them down or anything like that, Biffa and City of Planner Plays and all them, they have access early to these dev diaries, and they're able to formulate hour-long video and highly edited a week in advance, and we just don't have that luxury. So imagine just the grind that we're going through and the love that we have and the passion that shows through that, and all the hype that keeps coming with all of our steady videos that keeps everybody plugged in. Because, you know, it's nice that they do these Dev Diaries and Insight videos. Not a lot of companies would do that. Like, if you remember Cyberpunk, they was like, here's a 40-minute gameplay, and it was like the tutorial that was all nicely decked out, but everything else, we didn't get nothing. We didn't get nothing at all. And then come out, the game wasn't as good as it should have been, right? Sorry, I've been drinking a couple whiskeys.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, Cyberpunk is like kind of a unique circumstance because they that game was really not ready to come out, and they kept trying to delay it, and then they kept trying to
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Release it yet.
With Cities Skylines 2, they're showing us all of this stuff, and they're not holding really back, and they're showing us everything the game has like weeks in advance. So that lets us know that it's not like a Cyberpunk. And that's what I'm trying to say.
I think it's an insanely good sign that they were able to sure, we got those error messages that some of the creators got when they started up their cities or what. I don't know what sparked the error messages in the Cities in the Sky event that some of the creators were getting, but we got some of those error messages, but otherwise they were able to play the game completely. As I said, Martin got into the dev console and was spawning tons of stuff and no issues, nothing at all.
And should you expect everything to be 100% perfect? Nothing. Life just doesn't work that way. You're going to have issues, you know. They're going to arise. You know what I mean? They're just going to arise. I'm so curious to see what's in that Paradox mods tab on the main menu. I'm so curious. They've kept that in their pocket so much.
I have a pretty good speculation on that specifically. So they already use Paradox mods. I have bad news. So they already use Paradox mods in one of their other games. I think it's Hearts of Iron. Or I could be wrong on it being Hearts of Iron, but they are using one of their other games, and everyone who I've asked about it has said it's terrible. It's an awful mod manager, and they don't like it. However, I may or may not have heard from a little birdie that it's going to be more of a hybrid approach where you can do Steam mods and Paradox mods at the same time, or the way it works is not exclusive from Steam necessarily. So we will still at least have that potentially as a fallback,
but kind of a marriage, really.
Yeah, and which honestly I think it's fine if you do a both situation where you can do both the Steam Workshop and Paradox mods, because you're at least still opening it up to being used by other platforms. I have been such a big advocate for them to get off the Steam Workshop, which I know is that's blasphemous, right?
Yeah, that's impossible. It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
It would just be but I couldn't fathom another world or way for them to practically give the modding community the ability to easily upload just once their mod and then allow people on non-Steam platforms to get it, because I think it's kind of bullcrap that the Epic Games players and then the Xbox Store players, which they're just kind of screwed out of mods to begin with, but just because of how things like Game Pass work, but they just don't have access to that unless it's built into the game. So I've been a huge advocate for getting them off Steam Workshop so they could have a built-in mod manager like mod.io, for example, which is what Humankind uses, and I think Ready or Not uses that as well. And it honestly I had no issues using the mod.io interface. It's a third-party website. You can log into it on your web browser, or you can do it in-game, and I think they even have console support. So I don't know how hard. I'm sure it's insanely difficult to create mods for console and PC at the same time. But
the requirements have to be astronomical,
right? But just the idea that it could at least be used for other PC platforms besides Steam is something I have been dreaming of for people, because I know so many people who got Cities for free on Epic, right? And then they're well, how do I play with that, or how do I play with this? And it's well, you have to go to this specific website, you have to download it, and then you have to put it in this folder, in your app data folder, and then anytime your game updates, you have to redo that with all the mods that you download. And it's well, that's just a pain in the butt, you know?
Yeah, no,
and
absolutely.
That's
definitely is a pain in the side for sure. But I would say that how much of the player base isn't from Steam directly. I would say a
let me just
large
throw something out.
portion of Steam players. So
Well, currently, yes, because that's where everyone plays their games, right? And because Cities has such a mod-focused environment, everyone's going to buy it on Steam because that's where all their players are, right? There's a lot of people who play this game on console, and Cities Skylines 2 will be on Game Pass. So you're going to get a lot of people exposed to the game for the first time through the Game Pass, like through Game Pass now, and especially with their partnership with Xbox. So it's like, would you really like rob those people of access to the something that so many of your core player base enjoy and use? Like, I would argue that the majority of like the core hardcore Cities players are exclusively like playing with the Steam Workshop, right? Like, I'm sure that there's like probably like a large portion of people who don't, but like the overwhelming majority probably play with some mod, right? Who like play the game pretty regularly, have like hundreds of hours in it, thousands of hours in it, right? Like, those people are all playing modded. Like, why would you keep that from like another play base? Like, I would say that it should be their number one priority. Besides like optimizing the game, right, is like getting that ability for people to access the mod workshop, because we know that modding community is going to do wonders for our game. And they've been super awesome at working with them, compared to other developers. Like, that's one thing we got to give Colossal Order a huge handout for, is like how awesome they've been with working with the modding community, giving modders and asset creators an ability to make money through the content creator packs. Like,
100%.
Not a lot of developers do that.
That's
so like,
why every time somebody gripes about, like mods or assets, you have to have this. Like, you shouldn't have to have mods for games. It's like, no, you don't understand that we get to have mods.
Sure.
We it's not that we have to have them, we get to have them. Imagine everything you could possibly ever want from this game, and now you have it. How long did you have to wait? 30 years? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, especially from a small developer like Colossal Order. But what I think the Paradox mod tab is definitely going to be console friendly. But I think that it's super hard, when the entire PC base, almost the entire PC base. I mean, there's a large minority who isn't, but like you said, there's the large majority of people are on Steam. And if you was to uproot that system and go completely, like, exclusively Paradox mods or exclusively third-party website, whatever,
I think it would be terrible.
It would immediately kill the modding scene. It would just, like, everybody the reason why modders are so popular and so prevalent is, for one, Paradox actually gives them a platform to upload their content on Cities Skylines specifically, but also the people who download those mods, they're almost exclusively from Steam. And those people who need to get the mods, a lot of times have to go through Steam to get it. Now, if there was a third-party option and then a console mandated, that you'd have to have, like, verified mods, for example, something that we know is going to work and scale up in the future. That way you don't have, your game doesn't break every time or you don't have to, like you said, go through all these, hurdles to get every single time a new deal. You're right. So, if they just had the option for all of the above, but with consoles being kind of tied down to, hey, we're on console, so it's already hard to get mods, so you only have these to pick from. We're sorry, but at least you get that type of thing. You know what I mean?
That's totally fine with me. Like, I really like the multi-platform, multi-mod platform like system. I think that would be like such a better idea than just like killing off just the Steam Workshop and going over to Paradox mods. I hope that they do that, because we do obviously have this huge Steam mod workshop community, but like just having it be the exclusive one, it does suck. Like, it does suck, especially when they're moving over to Game Pass, or not moving over to Game Pass, but like having the game on Game Pass, right? And like, it just would make sense for them to have like another platform that everybody can use, much like the Bethesda games, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like you have the built-in mod workshop, or you can go through Vortex, or the Steam Workshop on older versions of like Skyrim, for example, right? And so it's like you have lots of different ways to mod it, and so like if your mod's not functionable on this workshop, or like it's not going to work for console or something like that, you just don't have to provide it for that platform.
I completely agree. One of the other things I wanted to ask you about was, okay, so one of my favorite videos is actually one of your one of your most viewed videos is the traffic video I alluded to earlier. What is your favorite video? And go off on a tangent on that if you want to. But if it's not that most highly viewed video, why do you think?
Like all my videos?
Yeah, of like all your videos. What is your favorite? And an addendum to that, why do you think your highest? I'm not good. I'm not Englishing good today. How do you think that video popped off, and why do you think it did as good as it did? I mean, I have a little bit of theory, but go up with your favorite video.
I mean,
and then
obviously
that,
it's a clickbait title. It's obviously a clickbait title because I was alluding to and asking the question like, because you're messaging it as a traffic video, but that's not really what the like. Obviously, it says traffic AI because that's the dev insight, but like what my thumbnail and my title are kind of insinuating on that video are like all DLCs included. They're burning money, right? Because it's got the Benjamin Franklin being burned right there, and then I'm saying like, what are they thinking in the title? Insane Cities 2 Dev Diary, right? So I'm really giving like somebody the like question, right, which I think we all try to do when we create, like, people who make YouTube videos, like, you should always be invoking that question, right? Like, you want to click on that, like, oh my god, that's so jaw-dropping. And I don't think I've been able to replicate that as well in these newer dev diaries, because it's harder to create those narratives when they've already shown us so much, right? So it's like we're getting less and less new things, so it's harder to like create and like the hype kind of has died down for the game.
You've also tied yourself down to a specific style of thumbnail too, so people get used to seeing that, you know.
Right, exactly. And I do try to do that because I don't want to venture away from it and have it do poorly, because that first the thing that I've found that is so important about YouTube videos, especially like after doing them and like having them be really successful after another, is thumbnail is the most important thing. It is almost more important than the actual core content of your video. Getting people to click on your video, that impression click-through rate that you will see in your YouTube Studio tab is by far the most important statistic that you can look at every single time you upload a video. I sit down on my computer and I watch my statistics for the first 3 hours. And if I don't like my impression click-through rate, I redo the thumbnail.
I do. I'm within the first hour, dog.
I gotta figure out which video it was that I redid the thumbnail so many times until I got it. I think it was Dev Insight 6. I redid that thumbnail. No, maybe it wasn't that one. It was one of my Dev Diaries or Dev Insights. I redid the thumbnail like probably 10 times, completely different every single time, until like within the previous 15 minutes, the impression click-through rate went up. Like, I was basically A/B testing, which if you don't know what A/B testing is, it like basically you can upload 2 thumbnails and whatever program you're using on YouTube, and YouTube's going to include this now as a built-in feature. They'll basically flip between the two every single time it gets shown, and then whichever one gets a higher click-through rate, that's the one that they put on your video.
Right.
And I basically do that live every single time I upload a video if I don't like what the click-through rate looks like. And I've become more complacent with what it is recently, where like I think I have a good system down. I'm not getting like that many views on videos, but like the hype's kind of dying down. It's a lot of like mental work to try to like think of like what people are liking or disliking about the video, right? And so I've kind of just become a little complacent and just like pretty much okay with like, well, this one's got 2,000 views, that's good enough for me, right? Which is still a lot. Like, I mean, that's
you gotta keep yourself humble. You gotta realize that, you know, like when we first started, we're getting a couple hundred, you know, views, and now we're getting 2,000 views just on a whim, on a crazy. That's crazy for us. So we gotta kind of keep. It's hard though when you've seen videos reach 20,000 views, and you're sitting here like, why is this only at 1.5? Well, 1.5 is pretty good if you have, you know, 1.5 subscribers. That's pretty good. If you hit 2,000, you're reaching a wider audience, you know what I mean? And then not everybody your subscribers are going to watch your video. So even if you have 1.5 K viewers, they're not all 100% your subscribers. You can see that in your analytics. And then also another thing I would say is, you know, they have in the studio, they have a like this what is your audience searching for most thing now.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, that's been really useful. Like I don't need vidIQ anymore. You know?
Oh sure. I bounce between vidIQ and TubeBuddy a lot. I think that they kind of function like a little different, and sometimes I'll like enable one and disable the other, and like see what it's suggesting too sometimes, because they offer different things. Like I don't think vidIQ tells you what time's the best time of day to like upload. Like if you go down and look at your audience under audience in YouTube Studio, it'll give you like when your viewers are actively using YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And like you can see like what those are. TubeBuddy gives you times to upload, like which one it suggests, like based on this graph, we think that this would be the best time for you to upload based on that. And so like I will bounce around between the two because they do still offer like a bunch of other stuff. Like I really like I know they say that tags don't really help, but like tags are a really good way to figure out like what if somebody were to search that phrase,
right,
how recommended your video will be.
100%, dude.
And that's really important because like, oh, if I can get in that person's mindset, they're looking for this and they look at my thumbnail and they're likely to click on that. Right. That gives me an idea of like how to change the thumbnail if it's not doing well.
Right, like it's almost as like you gotta put yourself in in an outside perspective. Like, okay, look, so let's just say Dev Diary progression tree development points just dropped. Let's just say, let's make something up, right? Okay,
sure.
That just dropped. Okay, if I was somebody who wanted more information about this, what inside that Dev Diary would I be searching for the most? How does development progression work? Question mark, comma. There's your tag. Maybe, you know what I mean, without having to, because there's a lot of like it's like me and you and a couple of the people who are actually making like daily, like weekly Cities Skylines 2 content. Like you have like one video from Biffa, one video from City Planner Plays, and a lot of the other OG YouTubers just upload Cities Skylines 1 really, which is wild to me. But there's a few of us who are like speculating every day, breaking down every day, analyzing every day, and at the end of the day, when you really think about it, it's like, where are we going at with this? You know what I mean? How many people are searching for something that if I'm curious and I'm willing to make like, this should be a banger video. Well, you gotta translate that into how is somebody going to search for that. And searching metadata is important, especially when we're the only ones able to be seen in the algorithm. Because, like, yeah, Cities Planner Plays may have said something about that in his hour-long video, but you'd have to sparse through an hour-long video where me and you are uploading, anywhere from 20 minutes less, video. So you're going to get like the meat of the situation over a course of days.
My videos are much longer than that, to be quite honest with you.
Some of yours really are.
Last Dev Diary 8 was an hour long, so
that's true. That's true.
Mine are not less than 20. Last one was like 10 minutes, but that's because there was really nothing in it.
That's true. You're a bad example for time length, but for weekly
revenue.
Stop it.
Well, you have to hit 10 minutes, and I was like, I gotta.
Yeah, but how many of those people are actually going to stay until that mid roll?
Enough. I mean, it's enough. I mean, it's enough
to justify it.
Counts,
Yeah. I don't know. I try to give as much meat as I possibly can in such a short amount of time, because a lot of my even like I have longer. Let's say I have longer videos. Some of my longer videos, they might reach 5 or 6 minutes, which you get to a mid roll. But I would rather a bunch of people watch the first ad on a shorter video than a bunch of people watch that first ad and maybe a few stay into the mid. You know what I mean?
Sure. I don't
know. It's just different viewpoints and how that works.
My videos, like by the halfway point, like I haven't seen one besides my Let's builds, which didn't really do that well at the end of the day. But aside from those, like all of my Dev Diaries and Insights, I get at least 48 to 50% at the mid point of every video, which is, I think that's really good. I don't know what.
Now, are those videos where you do the camera, or do you do camera in every video? Like
I do not on the build videos. I didn't, but like the videos where like I'm on camera. So like any of the ones, like the one you're talking about, for example, right? The one with the money, where the traffic one that you brought up before. That one by the midpoint of that video, like I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna check right now, but I'm pretty sure that one. I still had 40% view rate by like the middle of the video. So it's like, it is worth it for me because my click-through rate does like actually keep like about half the viewership
Yeah, so it's worth it for you because you have like people are expecting that from you longer.
Right.
Well, I mean, 20-minute videos are about your average. That's not too. That's reasonable. You know what I mean?
Right.
You do have some hour-long videos, but mostly 20-minute videos, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you know, you can get a lot more meat out of a 20-minute video than you can in an hour-long video. Because I mean, even if you have 50% of people stay until halfway, well, that's 50% of people who aren't going past that. So how much information do you have in the end of your video that they're not getting? That's kind of like what I kind of and also I do so much, dude. I like my first 2 or 3 minutes of each one of my videos are so highly edited, and I've got myself into.
Because you got to get them to stick around. Because like that first little bit, you want to get them to stick around so it keeps chugging your video out. Because like that the impression click through rate can be really good, but you got to get them to stick before like so it can keep sending the video out. So I get that.
Yeah. Well, and also it's like it also shows that you're putting effort into your video. You're not just trying to one off, you know, a commentary with some some in the background. You know, you're trying. It shows like initiative. You're trying. You know what I mean? But
I'll definitely get lazier towards the end of my
exactly. Yeah, 100%.
You're already watching. Like you're not gonna click away at it. And if you do at this point, like. Okay, I think you probably got what I was trying to
right. Or if you stay until the end, you're here for what I have to say, not here for just the sake of the content. You're here for everything that I'm about to bring to the table. You know what I mean? So it's like yeah. So I messed up. Hold on, where I at? Okay. All right. So
but you asked me like another question though to that. Like, what was my favorite video? I didn't answer that.
Yeah. I was getting ready to follow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, my Skive tutorial, which did absolutely terrible when I first uploaded it, and it's been like more of like a slow burner, I think, at this point. But like when I first uploaded, I was like, well, geez, I'm never doing tutorials ever again. This did absolutely terrible. Like within the first day, it didn't even like for my channel, like it didn't even hit 1,000 views, which I thought was like terrible at the time because like at the time, everything I was uploading was getting like 2,000 views within the first 24 hours. So I was like, well, this is awful. I'm never doing this again. But like now it's like well up into the 2,000s. So like
2.1 right now we're looking at
Yeah, and like TDW, the creator of Skive, even like reached out to me and like, this is great. Thank you for doing this. So, like I put a lot of time and effort into like figuring out like what Skive was. I recorded it like twice because I wanted to make sure I like at least like did things correct. I put a lot of time and effort into editing that video. So like I would say it's like the hidden gem of my channel. But like if you don't need to know how Skive works, then like you're not going to click on it on my channel. So like
if you don't even know what it is, it's not going to matter to you. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do. I haven't really got all in it because I haven't really needed it. But it's showing that I have like a quarter of the way. I have watched it at some point. I don't remember, but I've watched.
You might have clicked through it at some point too, because I always make sure to put chapters in all my videos in case because it at least if you get bored with a certain section of my video, you can at least click to the next section and it increases that watch time. Yeah. Right. Like it's so it gets people to stay on my video too. So I always make sure I put chapters in it. I was really adamant about Skive's chapters because it's a tutorial. So if you only need a certain section of Skive, I want to make sure when you click on the video, you can at least get the information that you want, so you don't immediately click away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. You remember the time, remember back on YouTube when you wanted to make chapters for your videos? You had to just list a bunch of timestamps.
That's what I do. Is there another way to do that? I've never done it any other way.
There's on my channel, for example, and I don't know how it does. I'm not the one who does it. Let's just put it that way. There's some of my videos where people list chapters on my channel. I guess it's open to people to do that, and they don't. I don't have a list of I was looking for that, but I don't have a list of timestamps at all. Nobody's ever made a list of timestamps in my comment section, but the chapters are on my video. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I think there's an automatic chapters option.
Right, but not all my videos get that.
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't think that your video needs chapters. I have no idea.
Oh, so is it an AI automated thing? 100%?
I think so. Yeah, when you go to upload your next video, take a look. There's a check mark below, whether or not your video is made for kids or not. Yeah, it's somewhere in there.
Okay. Because I just do that and it works. I guess it's just me doing it. I guess I don't know.
I like to manually put it because it puts those keywords in my description.
Oh yeah, nice touch, nice touch for sure. Nice touch. Well, another thing that I like to ask a lot of people when we have these podcasts is, so you've seen some of my content on my channel. Like, how do you think that I could do better, like as a content creator overall? I know it's an open-ended question, but I mean, just
it's a very open-ended question because like I don't also feel like I'm like doing, obviously I don't feel like I'm doing the best I could possibly be doing also, right? So it's like it's hard to like give other creators advice when you're also like not like the peak of your domain, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
right?
it'd be easier if you had like 100,000 subscribers.
We're not City Planner Plays. Even though City Planner Plays is like a very unique circumstance because he is a city planner, so like he's not really like the same domain as us.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, I mean, be honest, it's fair. It's like it's fair. It's fair because it's like we're kind of on the same playing field, the same level, the same. We're kind of like like any information.
Nail it with thumbnails. I will say that. I think your thumbnails are very nice. Like the one that you uploaded today, I thought was very good.
The fake leaks.
Yes, because I was like, "There's leaks."
Yeah, well, not really.
And, like, I wanted to click on it.
Like,
I didn't end up watching it yet, but like I was like, there's leaks going on, and so like it made me want to click on the video. So I think that you do a really good job with your thumbnails.
Cool, right on. I appreciate that. Well, I do. I've had years of practice with thumbnails. I originally got started as a moderator for a Fallout YouTuber named Petard, and he I was just curious about YouTube, and like I'm a moderator for a big YouTuber, so I'm not going to take the opportunity if I'm able to learn whatever I can learn, especially when I was younger, So that's what I did, and that's how I learned how to YouTubes with the kids, I learned how to do that, and he really just buckled it into me. He was like, he's like, if you're not making, if you're like when you're first starting a channel. And of course, he went with me. He went over with me all the algorithmic tricks and how to start a new channel especially with games and certain niches and how to get it going. But he goes, when you first start editing videos, when you're first starting out, just ramble, talk, see what the comment section has to say, learn. But if your thumbnail isn't taking you twice as long as it takes you to record and edit that video, then you're not doing it right. You're not putting time into your thumbnail. And that was, again, at a time I had no graphic arts, design experience at all. So, like, when I was making a thumbnail, I had to learn, like, even, what aspect ratio was. You know what I mean? Like, it was that,
sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was that, out of the loop. So he was like, at that point in time, you got to really buckle down. And so, like, I always had that mindset, like, if by the time my video renders, and let's say it's a 30-minute render, let's say it's a big video and it takes 30 minutes to render or something like that, I should maybe be halfway done with my thumbnail. And I've gotten really good at thumbnails, so it doesn't really take that long, but I still keep kicking myself in the ass. I'm like, this thumbnail's bad because I haven't taken very long to make it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's kind of how I said that earlier, like in this podcast, that I was like, your thumbnail is so much more important than the actual video content itself. Like, you could have, like, if you're recording like a vlog of some kind, you could have like the best thumbnail and people will click on it, and then if your quality is like crap, like a lot of people will just look past it because they're already committed. They've clicked on your video, they're already committed to it, right? Like, right. It's kind of like the same concept in like live streaming, right? Where like a lot of people for like a long time were like, why in the heck is XQC so popular? He has a blown out microphone. His background looks like crap. He doesn't have any kind of graphic, like no like cool screen effects for his video. Like, why is this guy popular? And it's like, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He puts drama in all caps and emojis in his title, and it gets people to click on it. And then he's like a spaz, and people just want to watch it. So it's like, the thumbnail, like getting people to click on the stream or your video is so much more important than like perfecting like the little intricacies of editing, for example, right? So like I have a background in video editing, so I have a degree in video production. I'm a corporate video editor, so like I do freelance work for corporations, and like I know that like if there's something I want to do in a video, I know I can do it. So like when I started making YouTube videos, I only cared about, like, if you go back to like Not maybe like my first videos that are on the channel, like the first two, I think. I don't actually know what is actually on my channel as my first couple videos. Like if you go back like all the way to the beginning. But like if you look at like the ones when I started doing City Skylines ones, those are like they're pretty okay, but like I didn't know anything about like YouTube thumbnails, and so like all I did for researching videos was not like how to edit YouTube like videos for YouTube, because it's like I can do that. I know how to do that. I put all my time and effort into learning like how to make a more engaging thumbnail. Like what goes into it? Is it asking a question in the title? Is it asking a question on the actual thumbnail and then like maybe answering it partially in the title, or is it like a really jaw-dropping image? So like the most viewed YouTube video I had before I started doing the Dev Insights was a video, like a tutorial series. So I started like a vanilla tutorial series because I had so many people on my Twitch stream asking me like how to play the game basically. And I started one, and the second video was just titled "Change How You Think About Grids," right? And it did really well. It had like 1,000 views in like a day, and I was like, this is awesome. Like that was like huge for me, and it's because I invoked a question that was kind of topical at the time, because it was like right when like kind of urbanism was kind of like blowing up on social media, and so it was really like a topical question, and like it was getting people in. And so yeah, I mean thumbnails are just like the most important thing. Like it was all click-through rate. So like
100%, dude, 100%. And sometimes thumbnails are like they can just be real simple too, and like it's weird. It's like everything has to come to a point. Like your thumbnail has to be perfectly catered to not only the timing of the situation at hand, the genre into relation of how popular the situation at hand is, the timing of all that combined with how good the thumbnail is, and then if once everybody starts clicking on your video, if you have something of merit for them to stay and watch, then you win, and you probably gain a sub, or at least you'll gain the algorithm showing your next video to that same person, and then you'll likely gain a sub, So
sure, yeah,
you really can't, with a few good thumbnails, you really can snowball. Now luckily, like if I was to just be starting YouTube when I first started this channel, dude, the growth on this channel would be nothing. Like this channel has grown as fast as it's grown because of I've had 3 other channels that I've had in the past. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
And I've had like.
Do you do shorts?
I have 3 shorts on this channel. Yeah.
I initially start much like Diana. She's like much more popular on TikTok, right? She moved her like YouTube audience onto TikTok. I listened to like a little bit of her podcast episode of yours, and I know that she like moved her audience from like YouTube over to TikTok, right? Like that was kind of how she started, and then she like blew up really over there. Mm-hmm. But like the short form engagement on YouTube is how I grew my channel initially. So like I was uploading, because I play a lot of other games other than just Cities Skylines on my Twitch. Yeah, and so I was anytime I was like very big on like short form content is like key for getting people to know who you are first, right? And like I thought it was really important that I upload YouTube shorts, and then at the same time I was uploading TikToks, and that I had a couple TikToks that did really well, and I got some people that came into my Twitch stream and I was like, oh, this is great. But the real moneymaker was that I was getting YouTube subscribers at the same time. And so when I started uploading these dev diaries, I had a subscriber base that was like interested somewhat in City Skylines content, because I was playing a lot of crowd control City Skylines where like people could send me disasters. So like I had a lot of people who were like kind of interested in City Skylines. So then like I already had like somewhat of a viewer base, because almost all my subscribers came from when I was uploading YouTube shorts.
Yeah, I see that a lot. And they do a ton of shorts, man.
Yeah, I was uploading 3 a week for a while, and like I was trying to upload daily for a bit too, but it's like, I for a long time I was like erring on the side of like make Twitch stream in a way that's super intentional to make short form content out of it, and that was my entire content cycle, right? And then make intentional long form content, or rip live streams into long form content. So like I have one where the first time I played with crowd control is uploaded on my YouTube channel, and like that one I cut into a YouTube video, I had a live stream of, and I cut it into YouTube Shorts. And so like from one stream I was able to make like 10 pieces of content.
Oh yeah,
from that's just one video plus a long form video. And so like that was kind of my thought process for a really long time, but like it became very draining trying to do that like all the time.
Yeah,
and so like I kind of, and then like there was a while where like YouTube Shorts just weren't getting put into the short stack, like the For You page basically of YouTube, and like I kind of just like gave up on it because like out of nowhere they would just like not get in, like kind of like how TikTok, like if you upload to TikTok, like sometimes it just doesn't do well and you're just like, well, I don't know why, right?
Yeah.
Like I could intro the video exactly the same because like a lot of my TikToks or like earlier Cities Skylines ones, it would just be like TTS voice. I downloaded a program that let my Twitch chat send me disasters, right? And that was the intro of every single video, and it had the same swipe through rate on every single one, and some of them would get sent out and some of them wouldn't on both YouTube and TikTok, and I had no idea why. And so eventually I gave up. Yeah. And eventually I gave up, and I probably shouldn't have. But like I'm thankful I did that for so long because that's what gave me the subscriber base in the beginning to like start uploading these and then just like act like rocket fuel, I guess. So
yeah, I don't know. I gotta get better at making shorts, man. I literally have 3, and it's just every short that I've ever made. I'm so unfamiliar with the editing because it's
very fast. Don't worry about like jump cuts, like audio stumbles, like literally like talk over your words. Instantly you need to have something engaging in the front end. Like that's my key like to success in short form content. Like your hook needs to be fast and catchy instantly to get someone to stay,
right?
Or you just need to have action really fast or like a really solid build up, and like it's a much different editing style. It's 100%. What I'm more comfortable with. I would rather like I think I'm much more comfortable like editing something like that than I am with like long form content.
Dude,
but
I'm the exact opposite.
It's much different. It's much different.
Dude, I'm the exact. I do need to get better at the like. It's taking a lot of editing to get used to like learning that style. But yeah, I definitely can see what you mean by just like talking over words. But really though, it's like you gotta hook them in, and you've gotta have the content. They've got to be hooked in so much that they don't realize the video's over and they're replaying it.
Yeah, like doing loops on some can be like really helpful. It depends what you're doing, but like doing a loop can be really nice too because it does get that watch through rate because then you have like a plus 100% watch through time, right?
Yeah.
But like the way the algorithm works is like that first people who swipe away, it's not necessarily on how long somebody watches through your video. That's helpful, but that swipe from the first 3 seconds of your video, if somebody like swipes away in that first 3 seconds, that hurts your algorithm a lot.
Yeah.
But the nice thing was about doing short form content was that, which I don't know that it does that well for Cities Skylines in terms of Cities Skylines because like I don't know, I think the Cities Skylines audience just wants like a slower watch the build kind of vibe, right? Like longer videos or just informational stuff.
Yeah, it's much more of like a broader style of content than because everything within Cities Skylines content like you to put something in a 1 minute video like you're not really getting the meat of the situation.
No, you're not, and like. The difference is that these are like kind of throwaways. Like these took me like 15 minutes to like make total and upload and create titles for on all 3 platforms that I was uploading them to at the time.
Yeah, that's what I need to get at.
Yeah, and so like one stream I could get like 3 TikToks done like from something if something like good happened in that stream, right? I could get 3 out. If one does bad, fine, I have 2 more. Like they're more throwaway, they don't take as much time to do, but they give you so much more exposure. And if you're doing it on YouTube, it can bring you subscribers to your regular videos. Like I need to get back into doing them, but I'm also like not playing Cities on my Twitch stream now for like the time being just because I lost all my saves and like the content I was making on Cities was not very like short form friendly. Like just doing like let's builds is not short form friendly. But my crowd control when I was playing with that where they could send me disasters it was very jaw dropping. Like, oh my god, you just sent a tornado through my whole city. I'm surprised, right? And like that's much better for like short form content. in the terms of like the city space, I guess, for like uploading. So I haven't like done much in terms of like that, and I want to keep my like YouTube channel like pretty much cities like exclusive, even though that's not like all I do in terms of content. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta get better at shorts. I've got to get to that where I can just 15 minutes, bang them out type of thing. I definitely need to. I have 3 on my channel. You have an infinite amount more than I do, but
you don't stream though, right?
No, not at all. Well, yeah, I really need to update my computer first off, but second off, and where I live at is not very fiber optic friendly.
Internet.
Yeah. So
I've been there.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just the I tried to do a live stream for I had a tournament, and I've been planning it the whole time, and I have done live streams in the past, and then which has been fine. It's not like they're 4K live streams, you know what I mean? But they were watchable, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that because it's not really like I'm not a streamer. This is just something extra for my subscribers, so no big deal. So I didn't really put too much heart into it. But then I had a live stream where I relied heavily on this internet connection here, and it did not. So now I've just been scared ever since to redo it again. Just because I don't want to have to be like, oh, sorry guys. I just don't want to have to go through all that. I want to be able to know for a fact. And I've had internet people come out and they've said everything's fine, but every time I try to,
all ISPs are terrible and lying to you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I think we've all probably been there at this point. I'm pretty grateful where we just moved to we changed fiber providers. Like the previous fiber provider was like through Xfinity and it was terrible. And like now I'm on AT&T and it's been by far the AT&T fiber has by far been the best internet service I've ever had. Like, and by that, like, it's not that they're going above and beyond. It's just that it just works. Like it just works, right? Yeah, like it does what they say it's gonna do, which is like crazy. That's like all like an internet provider has to do, and they somehow always fail to meet the mark on that.
Yeah. Like this is what you're gonna get, and then you immediately don't get that, and they're like, "We're trying."
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
man.
Even if you don't like, if you I don't know, somehow intentionally like plan your videos to like be able to cut a section out of it. There's like a way, I don't know if it's like on mobile or something, where like they will literally on the YouTube app, I think, or maybe it's YouTube Studio, you can just like cut out a section of your video and turn it into a clip, and then it throws it into the short stack, and somebody can like click somewhere on the short and it'll send them to the full video if they want to watch it.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't know how that works because I don't upload anything that has like snappy moments like that. I might try to do that with the Cities in the Sky stuff because there was some stuff like that, but yeah, apparently you can do that if that's helpful for you. I don't
know, dude. I'm as far as all that kind of stuff happens. I don't know. I'm kind of an old boomer when it comes to a lot of that stuff. I have a buddy of mine who has been a subscriber of mine from our very first channel, who is also a fellow subscriber from Petard way back in the day, and he's always been there for me. He's kind of like my tech guy, so anything I don't comprehend, he'll come in there for me. Like he'll set up all my integrations and all my bots and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah, I'll have my boy look into that. That's just shorts are something. I want to do them more just because I want to be able to do them like at a snap of a finger if I need to. If I see a window of something that I could get out there that I have a light bulb click in my head nobody else has done, I need to get out there. I want to be able to do it quick without having to be like having that drag my feet like, oh, I've got to do this type of thing. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my big thing. But one thing I skipped over a question, man, that I had for you. What is your favorite thing about Cities Skylines 2?
It's a great question.
I ask everybody that, and they're always like, "Oh, I don't know. I think Cities by Dynasty."
It's got to be road building.
Road building?
Okay. Yeah, I had somebody ask me this on my stream the other day when we were watching the Cities in the Sky, and I said I took a second to think about it, and I was like, I think it's road building because it is such an important aspect of City Skylines that I hate doing. Like, I actually hate building the roads. Like, that's the part of the game I hate.
So you like the grids, or do you like the snapping, or both?
Oh, I definitely would prefer I like the new grid system. I'm a grid builder at heart, but like I just like hate oh man, I gotta build this stupid interchange now instead of building nice cool buildings, right?
Right.
And like I just find it so tedious, and all of the new features and integrations, like the grid, like just being able to drag out a grid is just like, I just look at that and I'm like, wow, I can just speed up all of like what would take me like man, I would have to drag out this road, then I have to drag out this road, and then I have to connect this road to this road, and then I have to keep going, and like all these like single clicks. Right now, it's just like so fast and easy. Like the quality of life improvement for that is just so exciting to me.
Yeah, man. I almost think like they had a lot of these ideas for a lot of quality. Sorry, I've been drinking a little bit of whiskey. Quality of life improvements. Like I feel like they've had a lot of these in the back pocket, especially as like ideas early on. And I feel like they're like, let's add this to the game. But then they got so many of those great, in the back pocket ideas. They're like, dude, we just need to make a new game. You know what I mean? The Paradox, of course, come in like, it's that time, boys. And they're like, we've been waiting for this.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you know the origin story of City Skylines?
They killed SimCity. That's about what I know.
So SimCity, when SimCity, they had apparently been pitching a city builder to compete with SimCity for a while, and like Paradox didn't like approve it basically because they like kind of like parent company kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
And like when SimCity died, they were like, let us do this, and they were like, well, show us like an example. Show us an example of something. And I think that's when they made Cities in Motion 2. And they're like, here's like what we like, imagine this but better. And they were like, okay, great. And that's kind of how Cities Skylines was.
Imagine that's all it took.
Right, and that's what they rushed it out kind of. And so like not that they rushed it out, but like they didn't build it in like a way to have longevity necessarily, because their entire goal was essentially to just like get into the void that SimCity left, right? Because at the end of the day, Paradox is like kind of like a rival to EA when you look at the games that they have, like SimCity, Cities Skylines, right? They're now doing Life by You. What is it? The Sims clone one, like and that, so like yeah. and then there's Sims. So like they're kind of like becoming this like EA rival essentially. That's how I like to look at them now, even though they do a lot of like strategy games that like EA does not touch, right? But
yeah,
that's how I've been thinking about them recently, and like that's kind of the origin of Cities Skylines, is because SimCity died, they were able to like get it approved. So like,
yeah, the only difference that I would say, EA is a good comparison. The only difference I would say is they don't require a game each year. You know what I mean? They've by happenstance allowed themselves to, even though like you said it wasn't really created to be a game full of longevity, it's by happenstance because of the gold mine that it is became that. And it's like,
and I'm sure this next game they have built out to be something that they can expand on very aggressively, right? Like they can turn it into something like The Sims.
They have the ability to make any game a flagship game for Paradox now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they kind of like dominate every like market that they like operate in. If you really think about it, like they run the cities, like the city builder space. Like they are like the premier, war strategy kind of genre. Like every game that you look at, like Hearts of Iron, like all those, Stellaris, you look it up, Paradox.
Yeah.
They're even competing with themselves in some of those games, right? And so so like Life by You is like very like their first time, like they're really like don't dominate the market that they're kind of venturing into. So but like yeah, I mean Cities, like they want to make sure that like that's they're the ones, they are the city builders, right?
100%.
So
100%. Yeah, 100%, dude. I don't know. I'm just so happy that they decided to make Cities Skylines 2, and I'm just so happy that it's like a lot of people look at it again. They look at it like, oh, you have to have mods. I look at it as we get to have mods. There's plenty of games that they don't like. For example, Jurassic World Evolution, when it first came out, they didn't allow. It was not mod friendly. And I don't know if you know anything about the people who made Jurassic World Evolution Frontier.
Yeah, I mean I played a lot of Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo.
Okay, so now imagine Planet Coaster, Planet Zoo, and then they say, hey, there's a dinosaur park builder you're about to get, and you know that Frontier's making it. What are you thinking? You're thinking a dinosaur park builder, but on the level of Planet Coaster, right? That's what you're thinking. Right. Because why not? Why would you not just port over all these assets? Why would you not do that? You know what I mean? You're known for that. You are the gold standard in park builders. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not? So, but the first game came out and they didn't do that. There was nothing that you had buildings that you plopped down. You had no individual assets to make a building with. Of course, you had IP and licensing and stuff like that, but that doesn't excuse terrain or foliage or stuff like that. So there's been a lot of times where, there's been franchises out there who like you hold them to a certain standard, which might be a gamer thing, but also like if they consistently put out this level of content, you consistently expect a level of content, and that's you should as a consumer, because that's what you're getting on a routine basis, right? So when that comes out and it's nowhere near the level of what it's supposed to be, and no mod support and all that, and eventually all that stuff came in later, and Jurassic World 2 came out, and eventually they did really well with that, and which they should, but the second game should have been the first game. They should have had mod support. They should have had all this different stuff. We should have been able to blah 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 yada yada yada. Fast forward to Cities Skylines 2, it's like, we know based off Cities Skylines 1 that they will uphold this level of integrity for the consumer. The consumer is coming to expect this,
Sure.
and, you know what I mean? So that we know that we're going to get that, you know what I mean? And they've shown us that we're going to get that. It's not like, hey, this is what you're going to get, and they don't show us anything to launch. No, they've every step of the way they've held our hand. They may have not shown exactly everything we wanted, or been the exact version of the thing that we thought we wanted.
Yeah,
but
they haven't ever been
better.
scared to like show us the game
Right.
at
And
all.
that's such
Like,
it's a good sign.
Here
man.
you go. Yeah.
Such a good sign. Such a good sign.
I mean, like, what you were talking about with the Jurassic Evolution, that can kind of like roll into that same thing of like Cities Skylines when they like initially pitched it, right? And they were like, well, go make Cities in Motion too, right? I almost feel like that could potentially have been what they were doing with Jurassic World Evolution, because like a lot of times those games that are like licensed, they usually don't have a huge budget, right? They're just a cash grab at the end of the day.
Oh, 100%,
but
yeah.
because Frontier made it, they like made something that was actually really good, and then they saw everyone going like, wow, this could have been great, and then maybe they wanted to invest a little bit more money, and then finally were able to make the game that they wanted to make, i.e. Jurassic Evolution 2.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty common in gaming, where like, a lot of those like licensed games, like the SpongeBob games, for example, like some of them are great, but like some of them are like, you can tell this is just a cash grab, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm just glad that these are the developers who are bringing us the city builder of our dreams, because they've done it once, they can do it again. So I think my last question. This is my last question. Yeah, what kind of content do you plan to make after launch? Like, if you don't,
for Cities Skylines too?
Yeah, if you don't get September 8th, not able to do that. Of course, everybody will probably upload a review, all that. But are you planning on doing tutorials? Are you going to be doing creative builds, vanilla builds, all the above? How-tos, let's plays.
I think it kind of depends on where I think there's like a gap in the market, I guess, is kind of like, I don't want to like take over like another person's space, I guess, at the end of the day. Like, I know Biffa's gonna focus in on traffic, right? And so it's like, sure, I could make even more traffic content because people clearly like it.
Well, it gets you in his algorithm
but,
too, I mean.
Right, exactly. But like at the same time, there's always like, I feel like there's always something in a video game space that people are missing, right? Like, there's always like, wow, I wish like I could like find a video really easy on this from a creator that I know produces this kind of videos because I've looked them up before, right? So it's like, I might wait until I guess it's kind of nice that I mean, I still want access on the 8th, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of nice that I can like kind of sit back and like see what other people make first, so I know where I can slot myself in.
Yeah,
because like there's always like a niche, right? Like, I always thought my niche was like playing with crowd control on Cities Skylines. Like, obviously playing Cities Skylines was like my thing, but like I thought my niche was going to be crowd control, Cities Skylines all the time. That's what I do. That's what I'm known for. That's my niche. That's the content I make, right? And like because like Biffa makes like traffic videos, right? City Planner Plays makes videos where he explains why this is realistic. Sanctum Gamer makes really good, super realistic or like not realistic in the sense of like distances and stuff like that, but like realistic, hyper detailed builds, right? And it's like those people know their niche, they double down into it, and they do a really good job into it. And so like I want to find that so I can continually make the same kind of content over and over and over again and create a really nice system for it. Because like for me, for example, like I make these dev diaries and dev insights. I'm fine with doing this. I could do this every single week for the rest of my life. Like, I know the system. I've gotten so much faster at doing it every single week. I know all the troubles. Like, I like doing that. I like that repetitiveness of like, okay, I know what to do. This changes a little bit. 2 days a week. I know what I have to do on those 2 days a week. So like, I would like something like that after the game comes out, but I don't know what that's going to be yet, right? Like, is it going to be like finding mods and cool assets? Like, is that not going to be like something somebody does right away? Because like I'll hop in on that if nobody's done it yet, right?
Right.
Or is it like something else? I don't know.
It's
Like I
like
want to just find something that I can like easily reproduce and have really consistent content.
Right, and bank on numbers and stuff like that. Yeah, it's almost like a buffet. It's like, okay, here's a big smorgasbord of a bunch of stuff to eat. Here's all of us lineup of YouTubers. Some of us are very, very large. Some of us are very, very small. So we know all the very, very large ones are going to go after what they normally eat, and they're going to eat it all, right? So, and we might get crumbs. So instead of fighting for crumbs, I'll wait for the dust to settle and figure out what's left, and I will grab that.
Yeah, I like to think of it more like, because you brought the buffet, like there's a bunch of people who open different types of restaurants, right? And like some people might open a buffet that has lots of different stuff, right? And then some people might open a Chinese restaurant, and some people might open a pizza place, right? So I got to figure out what kind of food is missing from the table or like from the town that people want. Like, do people want a hot pot? Do people want a taco place? Like, I just need to figure out what that is. Like, do they need a coffee shop? So that's my plan, is like figuring out what food at the table is missing, essentially, so then I can make that food and be the one that makes that food in the town.
It's like,
right?
you gotta figure out which guy you are and then be that guy.
Right, exactly. Which is what I was trying to do with my Let's Build series, where I was like, I'm gonna do the small town builds, right? Like that's what I do. That's what I do when I play Cities most of the time. Like, I want to be the small town build guy in my Let's Build series, and then obviously it broke, but I don't think it was doing that well, because I don't think people really want to watch the small town builds, right? At the end of the day, like I don't think it's like that popular, and so like I just need to find something that like people want, but like also like I can be the only one, like hold a monopoly essentially over that specific niche in the scene, I guess.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I for one, I think I'm going to do. I think at first I'm probably going to do a little bit of everything. I'm probably gonna make a map. I'm probably going to break down some assets, some mods. I'm probably going to make a vanilla build. I'm probably going to do a creative build. I'm probably going to do a tutorial, a how to. And I'm just going to see which video pops off the most, and probably just lean into it. Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea. I would love to like get into map making in Cities 2. It was something that I like really wanted to get into in Cities 1, and it was really complicated.
I love it.
Yeah, it was. I just oogle and ogle over some of these maps. Like there's one on the workshop right now. I think it's Yucatan Bay, and it is just so detailed.
Yeah, you
and
keep finding new things that you didn't see before.
Oh my gosh, it's like so much little stuff in that map where it's like, oh my gosh, wait, this person used like a tram road underneath this road to like emulate like the struts on the bridge, and like it looks so good, and like I want to be able to like make something like that, but like I also know that takes tons of work, and it's not something I can like crank out really easily. So it's like something I'm like very envious of.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could also like find a nice happy medium where it's like it is hyper detailed, but not to the point of insanity, so where you can actually churn it out on a consistent basis and still get that, and then still allow people who will take a month to make one map to be able to do that, because those type of people aren't going to make content. You know what I mean? Those people are just making the maps. You know what I mean? There's very few people who go that far into detail and also make content. There's very few of those people. You know what I mean?
Like Teddy Radko is like the person I think of when I think of map making. I think of him, and he also does some content sometimes. So like, but it's like it's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And imagine trying to churn that out on a weekly basis, let alone a daily basis or something. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And but we don't really know much about maps, so we don't know how far maps are gonna. I mean, I assume it's gonna be a step up from what we have, but how much
it's something I'm surprised we didn't get a dev diary on the editor or the map maker.
I'm telling you, they're keeping some stuff. I have a video entitled "What Are They Hiding?" and there's a lot of stuff they're keeping in their back pocket. There's a lot of stuff, man. There's so much from the Paradox Mods tab, which you've heard a couple birdies, but nobody really knows at the end of the day of what's all that's going to entail and what that's going to mean down the line. Even what I mean, we can all speculate, but there's that, and then there's the map, and then there's asset editor, and then there's when the guy made the terrain go higher than the planes fly, I was like, okay, so So there's definitely going to be some crazy people out there, like what's his name, like a real engineer or something like that. They do a lot of crazy.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, they do a lot. Of
we're gonna get more of those.
Stuff,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of stuff that, and then they also there's like Rudy Renkamel said on his video that there's not as much. It's a beta build that he got to play, so it's not as much assets and props and stuff inside the vanilla game that you can kind of just really mix them around and play. But he also assumes that being as a beta build, he doesn't know how much is left out, and not because you look at the San Fran map and people can say San Fran's northern all you want, but it's still California. California's on the Gold Coast. You can look up a picture of San Francisco right now and see palm trees. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I can Google San Francisco right now, downtown.
Oh, I see what you mean. We haven't seen anything with palm trees.
There's a bunch of little bitty assets like that, like little bitty props, little bitty foliage, little bitty trees, little things that we haven't really got to see that we know are, if not in the game right now, going to be eventually. We haven't seen anything.
They had palm trees in Cities Skylines 1 in the base game.
Yeah, dude, have you seen? You can see a palm tree asset in the beach properties tab on the if you go to Steam right now and you look up, if you just look up Cities Skylines 2 and you scroll down to the expansion pass area, you'll see beach properties pack. You will see Cities Skylines 2 asset palm trees inside that little bitty shot, that little bitty box of beach properties little graphic there. And so that they're in. They will be in the game. And you're not going to have biomes and climates and longitude and latitudes and geographical parts of the world, and eventually not have something that's along the equator. You know what I mean? You just are close. It's just not going to happen. Eventually, there's going to be something, and we know that stuff's going to come. And we haven't been able to. We haven't been able to see any of that stuff right now.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff like that if you really start to think about how much stuff that we know about in game that isn't in this game, but we know it's in the game that we haven't been showcased. I should say. I need to preface that because people are going to say that people are going to think that that it's like not in the game. Yeah.
That is a good point. The beach properties pack. Yeah. The one thing that is really troublesome that I did see though is a lot of the buildings have decals built into them for the grass, much like the modern or was it mid-century modern buildings in Cities Skylines 1 where they had like the decal grass.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of them have that, and that I mean I don't like that personally because when it snows you can just see green lawn. So I hope that's not something they overlook because obviously that's like
how can you play test a game and not be like, we need to fix that?
Well, it's
if it's snowing and you're looking at green grass.
Yeah, I just hope that it's much like the trees where they just don't have that. That's what I'm getting at is like where they just don't have that feature implemented yet in the beta, because it's like we don't know how old this beta build was. This could be the most stable build of the game they have, but it could be from like 4 months ago, which is really common.
But there's two ways you can go from that though. If you think about it, it's like, okay, so either they're holding back. Okay, so that's fine. They're holding back. There's a lot. It's going to be wow when we get the final product. Cool. Or you can go, they're holding back because it's not ready yet, and what we get's not going to be. If you're going to be, half glass empty type of person, like, oh, okay, well then we're not going to get everything that we think we're going to get, and actually this is what we're going to get, and it's not going to be that great. But it's like, if you're really thinking critically about it, you're a developer, and you're like, okay, our biggest claim to fame is a hyper-realistic cities with climate, with weather changing, like dynamic weather changing, technically.
Right, and everyone hated
and no
the
snow
fact
on the
that
ground,
the Snowfall DLC was like permanent winter. We don't want permanent snow, or we don't want permanent snow assets, but we also don't want permanent summer assets either. So it's like I can't see that being something they overlook.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like it's the amount of negligence that would have to go into shipping that game to millions of people, knowing that that's in the game and being like, we're going to fix it eventually. That to me would be something like, if you was going to make a review on a game, that would be something that would knock you from a 5-star down to a 3-star, because you can't, you're not going to be able to, just not. I'm going to love the game no matter what. I'm just saying from like an outsider, like Game Informer, just hey, intern, you need to review this game. Okay, what game is it? Cities Skylines 2. Okay, never played this game before. Don't know what it's about. Let's play it. Do a little research, play it, and then, hey, why is the snow not melting off my lawn? You know what I mean? So, like,
Right.
I feel like that they're smart enough to know that, you know, but also they haven't expressly said, like, there's been a couple times where beta has been in the title or on screen. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is a beta build. There's been a couple times that's happened, right? But there's a lot of times that they don't put that on there, but they don't expressly say, hey, this is 100% a beta build, and some things you see in here will be different, fixed, changed. Like, they don't ever expressly say that. So you can either like go, okay, well, they're not saying that because they don't want to bring attention to it, and it's not, which I don't think is true, but it's not, the game's not up to speed like we hope it is, or it's, we want to set the expectation low because we know this game is going to be so fucking wild for people that it's going to blow their fucking socks off, and we don't want to mitigate people's lack of expectation, if that makes sense. We want people to have a lower expectation, so that way when they get the game, that's going to peak through the roof, because everybody's like, oh, I thought there was going to be a snowman on my summer lawn, but actually this is wild. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's a different ways you can go about thinking about that. I just happen to be a half glass full kind of guy. I'm also kind of biased, you know. So,
sure.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I'm going to love this game no matter what. Anyways, and a lot of people who don't like the game, I feel like, or like, first of all, are prejudging the game. I shouldn't say don't like because they haven't played it, but prejudge the game. I would say a lot of those people probably aren't diehard Cities Skylines players, and if they are, they're just so upset that there is a number 2 coming out. You know what I mean? They don't want to give up on the, you know, the hundreds of mods and assets.
You can't win everybody over. It's not gonna happen.
So, you know, I don't know. I'm super stoked for the game, man, and I'm glad you're on the podcast. I think we're gonna wrap it up, bro.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So Kodiak, everybody go subscribe to him. Thank you for bridging this gap in our podcast. Rudy had a big thing to do.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, like, you invited me on last week too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know when you wanted me on initially, but like, I had just like the worst week last week. So like, I'm glad we finally found time to get it done. So
yeah, no, I originally was going to have like a bunch of us smaller up and coming creators. Me, you, Jay Plays, somebody else. I was going to try to do like a group podcast, but I couldn't, with everybody's time zones and everybody I just couldn't
it's hard.
Yeah, I just couldn't get to work.
Yeah, I'm trying to
man.
get a D&D campaign to go together, and that's just been like a nightmare. So like, I am, yeah, I know what you mean.
Good luck, dude. My public library has a D&D campaign, and I had a couple guys show up, and then and then made like characters, and everybody saved our progress and what we was doing, and the dungeon master is really great, and the next following up time, 2 out of the 5 people didn't show up.
Oh yeah.
And so we mutilated their corpses.
Oh okay. Well, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like that. I mean, it's pretty cool that your library even does something like that. Libraries are they offer so much cool stuff. Go check out your local library.
Yeah, we have a big public library. And it's actually pretty much like the Blockbuster of our town now, because there's like, you know, there's no Blockbuster anymore. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Everybody rents. Like, I had a friend in college who would rent like PlayStation games from the library, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I went to the library and I rented this game," and I'm like, that is like sick that they do that.
Dude, I 100% will go to the library and get whatever Switch game, PS5 game, Xbox game that, like, let's say I've seen somebody play it on stream. I haven't pre-ordered or anything like that, but I do want to try it. I know the library will have it as soon as it comes out, so I go down there, I grab it, I play it. And if I really want to buy it, then I'll go buy it, and that's how I pretty much play test my games before I buy. No, these are games that I haven't pre-ordered, you know, that's already out, that type of thing. But I think it's really cool that the public libraries are actually very underrated. And of course, if you like to read, the books are always there. But our public library even has like a full-fledged fucking gallery in the top. They take an elevator up to the top floor, and there's like every week they have like a art group, and they like last week was fucking ballerinas or some bullshit, but these people are like dropping Picassos, dog. And I'm like,
yeah, that's
wow, man,
super cool. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. My local library, like the one closest to my house, is like not that big, but like they have like tons of events that the library, like the public library system of the whole city does. Like they were doing, I don't remember what they were doing they did like mushroom hunt, like gathering,
Dude,
like
that's cool.
classes and stuff like that. So like you could like, they would teach you like which ones are safe to eat, like how to check if they're like dangerous or something like
that's
that.
awesome, dude. I'd
And
be
like
so down for
they had
that.
like a rock hounding one too. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff. Like libraries like have so much cool stuff, which I'm really glad they added to City Skylines 1, and I hope that they eventually maybe do something more with it in City Skylines 2, because I don't think we've seen anything about libraries yet,
or anything about just local governments at all. Really, I mean, we know that there's we know that that citizens can be convicted, and we know that there is a town hall and the CIA. There's a couple things, and of course we don't know what comes underneath those umbrellas once you unlock those things, but. There should be like a legislative system in the game, if not like a DLC for it in the future. Like that would, like, it seems like a natural evolution, and I can't believe that it's not vanilla if it's not in there and they're just kind of holding it back.
Yeah, they haven't done anything with that at all. Like, I mean, like, I guess their first expanse into that was like, I mean, not really, but like you could say that like finances was like kind of like maybe something, but like, yeah, there's really not a lot of like background like governance that like goes on in the game. So like, which is a huge part of like city management. So that would be really interesting to see like if they did anything with that,
like
a
mayor,
politics DLC or something.
Yeah. I feel like a mayor point of view, or like a if you was to have like a storyline, like a story progression, like a mayoral campaign would probably be cool. Like imagine if you had like a pre-made city or a city you built, and then you click mayoral campaign, and you have to campaign, win mayor, and now you're sitting at your desk.
You have to keep your happiness up, or else you get kicked out.
Yeah, you know,
That
so you
would
get
be
voted
cool.
out, right? You have to win re-election. You have to constantly look at your finance and balancing. You have to approve which developments for use, and then maybe it has an automated system where it just develops on its own, and every once in a while you can just pop out of the office and fly around the city and take a look at stuff. You know what I mean?
Or like lobby your citizens to be like okay with a decision you might want to make or something like that.
Or pay off the newspaper to publish fluff pieces, like Tropical but City Skylines.
See, that's something that I hope that they like, you know, have built the game out to like expand on, like if they wanted to, right? Like if they think that that's the DLC, like I at least want like them as developers to like have the background to like in the game like code to be able to add whatever they want if it's like that.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. There's so many possibilities. We could probably stay here and talk for we didn't talk for another 15 minutes about stuff. So
yeah,
like we could go on forever and ever. And I would love to have you back on the podcast sometime. You know, whenever we cycle through some people. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, once the game comes out.
Cool. So everybody, anything you got to plug? Anything you want to say about your channel before we head out?
Head over to my website, which is just Kodiak.com, and you guys can look at all my YouTube videos get put on there, all my TikToks get put on there, my merch store's on there, and all my links are in the top left of that website, so you guys can actually check out every single one of my channels over there. So just go to Kodiak.com. And the first Kodiak's with a C, not a K. And then the other thing is that I'm doing a Starfield launch. So if you guys like any other video games besides City Skylines, you guys can check out my Twitch channel, which is also just Kodiak the Kodiak, or you can just find it on Kodiak.com. And we'll be doing a Starfield launch stream on the 31st with the early access launch at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be doing a launch stream then, and then the next day on September 1st, whenever I wake up, we're going to be doing like a sub/dono-a-thon for the rest of the weekend until that ends, basically, for Starfield's launch. So if you guys are interested in that, please check out my channel.
All right, right on. You send me some links, I'll post them in the comments or in the description or something like that.
Sure thing, I will send them to you.
I guess until next time, guys, piss off.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and